E tangihi ana te matenga o Waihuka, Paddy, te tai, te kairakurako o te ropu ngaha urongo nui, the Māori High Fives. E waru te kaumātahi tau te pake ki o te korau anei no ngā puhi, ka hinga i te hohipera ki Green Bay, i Wisconsin, Amerika. He tira whai mana ngā high fives i ngā tau ono te kau ki te whitu te kau, i huri a meo i te ao i ngā tau te kau mārima, i ngā hautahi me tahi o ngā kai waiaka rongo nui te ao, pēnei a Louis Armstrong e Duke Ellington, tai atu rā ki te rōpu The Beatles. I te tau 2000 i waka whakahono retia te rōpu i te whakatakotoranga o tētahi whetū ki te pupahi koe o ngā whetū i Las Vegas Boulevard. I te tau i muri mai katohu a rātau ki tētahi tohu mauroa o Aotearoa. Ka hia nei ngā tau rāwa ko tōna warangatira a Sylvia i noho atuana ki Amerika, hei te praide ia ka whakanuia ki te whare mate o Proco Wall ki Green Bay, mua i tana whakahokinga mai ki Aotearoa nei me kua.
Oh Lord, my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the works thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe display.
Welcome, dear friends and dear family with us today. Welcome to the celebration and remembrance of the life of Paddy Tatai. Welcome to all our dear friends and family around the world too. All our friends and family that are with us in spirit from London, Boulder City, Bay of Islands of New Zealand. We all feel your spirit with us. I know my dad would have said something like, when I was in a serious moment like this, when my dad was with me, he'd always try to make me laugh. My dad would have said something like, "Oh, live international audience through Facebook live stream, pretty cool, eh?"
Cool.
I mean, our parents' families lived overseas in England, Australia, New Zealand, and Steve and I grew up in Green Bay, sharing all of our special holidays with our parents' closest friends, and that's our extended family here while we were growing up. And later in 1992, when we were finally able as a family to return to New Zealand, Steve and I would learn the Maori word. The Maori word for it's called fun. Fun. This extended family, that was our family. And it's what we're feeling all week and today and what we have here in the room. Seeing all the fauna here today gives me a lot of strength and comfort, and I hope this day brings everybody some comfort too, each in their own way. And for my mom, I especially hope it brings strength and a comfort that will help during these quiet times that are going to come up. Just remember that this feeling that you're surrounded with love from all your friends and family. I know my dad would want today full of good vibes. He would want us feeling good. People just sharing good stories, but a balance of respectfulness and maybe a little cheekiness with some stories. We like that. So with that, let me introduce Mark Foss, who's going to lead us in prayer.
Afternoon. I got the privilege a blessing to get to know Paddy over the past year as he played for an event at our church called Beer and Hymns, and it was just really cool to see his passion and spirit coming across in the music. So it's an honor to be here today. Let us pray as we start today's celebration of his life and remembrance. Father, thank you for all that you do in our lives. Thank you for being in our lives. We invite you today here as we celebrate Paddy's life, what he has meant to each of us individually, and what his story here has influenced and impacted those around him. I know my life is better for knowing him. Thanks for this opportunity. May you be honored and glorified today in the conversations and the stories that are shared. And it's in your son's name. Amen.
What's interesting about Mark being here, Mark Foss from the Green Bay Community Church, his more direct connection to Dad is as everyone knows, he's a lifetime performer, professional musician. And the last gig, the last band he was in, was this group called Beer and Hymns, and it was a group formed out of the Green Bay Community Church, of which Mark Foss is a part of. So these were the last gigs that Dad got to play. He played steel guitar with them because I think he's the only steel guitar player in the Midwest. So there's a lot of demand for that. So they brought him in there. So the last show, I guess, would have been end of April, I think, early May. And they would play at Titletown on Broadway. So it's a really nice production, a big group, a lot of musicians, all the people that run the church as well. And Bernie Babe was the one who brought him in, who brought my dad in to be a part of that. And it's something he always looked forward to, which is why he loved to play music, and that was the bottom line. And a gig was a gig for that. It wasn't so much to make $50 as it was just to perform. And so it's very special that someone from that group was able to be here today, as well as Bernie's here as well. But lead us in prayer. Thank you again. So I'm going to be reading the eulogy. This isn't. I didn't write this. This was written by Marara, who's my dad's older sister. As you're coming in, you may have seen pictures of my dad with a woman that sort of looked like him back in New Zealand. This is his older sister. It's someone he's extremely close to their whole lives. I believe it was 1990 when their brother and sister had passed. So it's only been my dad and her for the longest time. And so it's always the impetus for him to go back home was to see his sister. They would speak on the phone, they email quite a bit, but they're always a big part of each other's lives, even if they weren't physically near each other. And so it was very appropriate that she writes this. So this is her. She writes like she speaks. So there's all that she included about Dad. Waihuka was born on Thursday, 22nd, October 1936, around lunchtime at our homestead, Te Puea in Te Rawhiti. He was named by Kiritapu Titai Tinana, who was our grandfather's sister. Our father's sister, Auntie Tina, called him Pennywag initially, which then changed time over to Paddy Whack. I know he always told me that you learned that in school, so I think he might have been a little embarrassed that it was like a family ribbing thing, and kept that to himself. I was present while Mom was in labor. She was kneeling on the floor with her elbows on a box while I was playing with some jackstones. Dad was there too. Told me to keep quiet and sent me out so I didn't actually witness the birth. She also told us that Paddy was born prematurely. Don't know how early or his weight, but she was able to hold him in one hand. He was wrapped in waddling, cotton wool, and was carried next to her uma, chest, until he gained weight. This was one of the reasons she was so inclined to mollycoddle him, and was the main reason she didn't like him playing sports of any kind when he grew up, in case he would get knocked around. Later on in primary school days, he got a rupture, a hernia, I think, and was hospitalized for that. So she didn't like him to be involved in anything strenuous. While we all knew this, we got a kick out of good-heartedly teasing Mom about "my boy." And this is how we dubbed him Mom's "my boy." But he was her whole world. You can all guess how the rest of us took advantage of how she felt about him. Our mother was very strict on us, but Paddy seemed to be able to get around Mom with his cheeky wit and natural charm. That trait seemed to continue throughout his life. We moved from Te Rafiti in the Bay of Islands to Auckland in 1939 when our father became ill with tuberculosis. Our father passed away in 1940 when Paddy was 4 years old. Our mother, her sisters, and our older brother and sister raised us. Mom worked in the market gardens, picking seasonal fruits and veggies. Money was tight, but our mother managed to provide for and educate us to the best of her abilities. Our whānau are adherents of the Ratna faith, a religion founded in the early 1900s by T.W. Ratna. Our father was the first secretary of the Ratna Church and worked closely with our leader. I mention this as we were all raised to be devout followers of the faith, and our mother instilled those values in us to help protect us in our daily lives. So even though Paddy moved around the world, our mother still prayed for him right to the end. During our primary school days, I used to have my hair in 2 long plaits, and whenever we had an argument or a disagreement, he would grab my plaits and yank them back and forth to make me cry. Mom had a terrible time trying to disengage his hands from my plates. Of course, I was always the innocent party. As time went on and we all grew up and got into the workforce, from college he worked for the Lands and Survey Department, where he learned his surveying trade. He also had a short stint in the Army, as did all young men in those times, soon after World War II. We were all musically minded. We played the piano while his interest was in guitars and ukuleles. Of course, from those days, there was no looking back, so to speak. Mom herself played the piano, having been taught to read music at an early age. Again, as we were growing older, dancing became the in thing, and we all developed a love for dancing, a very healthy pastime in those days. We had a venue, the Maori Community Center, where Maori from around Auckland would go every Friday night to dance and participate in talent quests. This was in the mid to late 50s, the rock and roll and jive era. Paddy was a member at the center and played guitar. He joined the High Fives and made his life overseas. Mom missed him terribly. Our mother was not fluent in the English language, as Maori was her native tongue. When Paddy was working in Sydney, she managed to get herself on a plane to visit him. She was very concerned about asking where the toilet was, but luckily she didn't need to. When Mom was in her 70s, she visited Paddy in Las Vegas. And I do remember a story about that. When she came out, they went by Lake Tahoe. For those back home, it's T-A-H-O-E. And so she would tell my dad, be like, Lake Tahoe. Paddy introduced her to many celebrities, but the highlight for her was going to a strip club. She giggled when retelling the story of being there, and in Maori she exclaimed that that was the first time I've ever seen white titties. I was shocked at her revelation. I wanted to ask what else she saw. Instead, I changed the subject. Some entries from our father's diaries about young Paddy. Started to walk in August 1937. Presented by Emma Kihi with a miniature cup. It was a lovely one for his 2nd birthday. Received it on November 14th, 1938. 1942 to 1947, attended Avondale Primary School. 1948 and 49, attended Avondale Intermediate School. 1950 to 1954, attended Avondale College. I have all the letters he wrote to our mother and brother, which we all read, and I'm amazed at the detail we all went into when we wrote to each other. I often said to Paddy that emailing is a wonderful invention. One can rave on in short bursts instead of writing the epistles that we did. There's one thing with Dad and his sister constantly emailing at all times. There was always a letter from every couple days or so, and he would always write back. And that's one of the blessings of technology, that they were able to communicate so frequently because of that. I loved raving on to him at any hour of the day or night about whatever was on my mind. Paddy signed off like this: "That's all from me. Later. Okay, fine? Okay, fine." I shall miss him dearly, but he is now with our parents, siblings, his son, and my mokopuna, that's her grandson, who died, in the heavenly realm. Marara e ta tunane, kua okioki koe I te maui iui, ipa atu ki tō tinana, e tai hoki te pia, koe rāta huarahi mō tatau te tanata. Haere atu koe ki o tatau whanaunga e takoto mera I e te awairua. Haere atu hoki, koe ki aratuma. Haere atu ki te torono o hio, tēnei tu whanau, me ne mokopuna, te aroha atu ki oke, no reina e te tunane. Haere, haere, haere. And next, for a passage reading from the Bible, chosen to reflect on strength, healing, heaven, and comfort, I would like to call 4 of Paddy's grandchildren, Te Puea, Mele, Waihuka, and Langi.
A reflection on strength. Reading from Isaiah 41, verse 10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
A reflection on healing. Reading from Psalm 34, verse 18. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed spirit.
Reflection on heaven. Reading from James 1, verse 12. Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him.
Reading from 2 Corinthians 1, verses 3 to 4. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort those who are in any trouble, with the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by God.
One of the good sides and bad sides to our family being in New Zealand is it's a wonderful place that spreads us out as a family to encompass so much of the world. The bad side to that is it's difficult to be able to traverse it, you know. So unfortunately, my eldest sister, Aroha, is unable to make it here today. And our brother, Ikey, passed away in 2010. But in their place, Aroha's daughter, Te Puea, is here, and she'll be speaking on their behalf. Thank you.
Rerenga wairua tēnei whakarongo mai. Papakitu ana ngā tai ki te tokerau. Whakato mai he tangata rangatira e. No te rawhiti ngā puhi nui tonu e. No reira matatama wairua tapu, ānehira pono me te māngai. Ko tēnei te inui ki a koutou mai. I a mātou I whānau ki konei ki Aotearoa. I huri rauna ki te ao katoa. Manakitea mai mātou te whānau, e noho ana I raro I te kapua o te pauri. Nā te haere o mātou matua tupuna whai aipo. Tūngāne whanaunga me o mātou hoa a Waihuka Paddy te pai. Harahina mātou I tēnei wā, nā te māngai, anō hei tautoko mai, ai ne ākene ai. I don't want to hold it anymore. Tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Te Puea. I'm the youngest daughter of Paddy's eldest daughter in New Zealand. And I've come to be a tohu aroha for our whānau at home. So and just so you're aware, I refer to him as Klani. It's a way of saying a grandfather. You'll hear this word a lot. As most of you know, Klani was, and as Uncle said earlier, Klani was born and raised in our northern homeland at home in New Zealand. And there's been so much beauty that's been spoken to about this, so I won't go into it, but we know that he was very close to our Nanny Sue, who sits up here. While he was working as a surveyor, he went into the King Country and he met my Nanny Kiri, strapping young lad that he was. And they went on to marry and have 2 children. My mother, Aroha, who can't be here today, and my uncle Ikey, who, as we've heard, passed away in 2010. There's been many stories back in Maniapoto about their time together and their sharing in music and song. But this relationship was not to last, as he, this Māori boy from Te Rāwhiti, went on the road to explore and achieve great things around the world. And that element in his life I'll leave for others to talk about. When he joined the High Fives, Klani had a cheeky smile and a personality that really can draw a crowd, as seen today. He was a man, oh man, he could make a guitar sing. You pick that guitar up, you just light up a room. And I see a lot of these traits in our whānau at home. I see it in my uncle Ikey, I see it in my uncles from Ngāpuhi. And they have a way of playing with the ear, which I don't know how many people get exposed to that today. There's some funny stories with the high fives around learning how to play with the ear and then really reading music. But man, when my uncles and Klani and my mum and the aunties, when they pick up a guitar and they start singing, it's music to your ears. It really is. So along his incredible journey with the Fives, we kept in touch. We kept an eye on where he was. I wasn't born at this point. The whānau did. And on his travels, he met our beautiful Nanny Sylv. And together they fell in love, and the rest is history. It's beautiful. I was talking with Mum the other day about, so I came over here in May, a couple of months ago, and I was able to spend some time with the whānau, just with me, and really get to know everybody. And I spent time with Nanny Sylv and Kia Paddy at their home, and I was saying to Mum, and she agreed with me. I was like, God, it's just so beautiful. Those love for each other was just one of the most blessed things that I got to be a witness to. And I thank you, Nan, we all do. We thank you for looking after our Klani while he was over here, for blessing our family with you and your children and our whānau whānui, and everything that you did, looking after everyone and bringing home and being understanding. So thank you so much. It's so beautiful. Oh my God, she's a babe. Her name is Babe. Such a babe. So he wahine toa kia koe, kia kaha kia mai, kia manua nui. So yeah, when I was last here, we were able to sort of share in different memories, talk about our whānau back home, talk about those funny emails that Mama would send, and also mourn for the passing of our whānau, of Uncle Ikey and Taina, who sit up here with Klani's brother and sister. So they sit up here with them. I was saying earlier today that with Uncle Ikey, he was similar to Klani Paddy in many ways, and he joined the army. This is one of his tops that I got from him at his tangi. And when I was talking with Moana, I was saying how he started late in the army as a private, and he still hung out with some of the more higher ranked officers and the like when he was in Waihu. And he just had that same cheeky sort of personality and approach to life where he could move a crowd once he picked up the guitar, really gifted a gab, through a crowd and really got to know everyone. One of the only people in the army who has managed to drive around all the army cars a little bit drunk after a night out with the lieutenants and majors up at the army barracks. So yeah, and at his tangi, just like today, there was you know, a real show of support for the type of person he was. His two children, he left with us, two children, two children, Rikile and Waivu. Waivu carries the name Ihaka Te Pai, Waivu Ihaka Te Pai. And Ihaka is, as we have heard, Kani's father, is a name that's been in our family for quite a while, and our Uncle Ikey also had that name, Ihaka Te Tai. And Rikile also has now another mukatorua for Kani, Tokyo, who turned 5 this week. So even from afar, we've got this connections, the whanaungatanga that we have. We've maintained that connection over time through whānau, through technology, keeping track of where the fives were when they moved around, and up to recently coming to visit as well. My mum said everyone at home wishes they were here. And they've shared so many stories, and I can't take the floor too much to talk about all of them. My mum had a big cry with mum around things. She talked about when he used to come drop her off at school and turn up in his flash car. She was just excited, oh yay, my dad's come to get me from school. My sister, she also carries his name Waihuka, and she shares his birthday, so she's got a very special place. She was raised by Mama, Marara, Paddy's sister. She was raised up with our whānau in the north, and is really knowledgeable in that space, and has a big heart, just like our whānau. My brother, who is the eldest grandchild, there's a story where he asked Kani to name his firstborn. We spoke about this earlier in the week. So though Kani was taken aback at first, kind of shied away in the first instance, he took the widow on board, and he chose a name based on a song by Te Puea and Father Mariu, to commemorate an exhibition that travelled throughout the States in the 80s, where at the Taonga, where Māori treasures, the exhibition was called Māori Taonga, and the song was called Te Hokinga Mai, meaning the return home. And I again thank the whānau here for remembering that, and you know, in time he will come home. But Te Hokinga Mai, who is my brother's eldest girl, she was born on the 4th of June, so I think it's quite poignant that 15 years ago he gifted her a name that is sort of settled to be quite significant to me at this time. Everyone sends their love, final return home. Me o wairua travel safely back to Hawaii, and I'm just going to finish up right now with that song. Yeah, that's better, sorry. も返事がものがあればそれだけなことかと。
On the other side of our family, on my mom's side, of course we couldn't just be on the other side of Green Bay. Deborah lives in London. And Deborah and her husband Michael and their daughter Kayarna and their son Sam. I've been told we see our family, we see them more often than some people see their cousins in Wisconsin on the other side of the state. They traveled here last February for an 80th birthday. They were here the year before that for an 80th birthday. We've been in such close contact with them, and I know they really wanted to be here today. But in lieu of that, we received something really special last night. My dad's granddaughter, Deborah's daughter, Kayarna, sang a song that she wanted to share with us today. The support on all the messages and all the communication, especially on my dad's Facebook page, has just been incredible over the last week. Well, before the last week, last month. But one poem in particular really stood out to my mom, and she'd like it if we could share it now. This was written by Marara, and was a tribute from Margie from the Maori and the Volcanics show band. A baby cries and someone dies, a true but well-worn phrase. One so often forgotten amidst life's busy maze, until on such a day as this, we are all made to see that life is just a brief encounter to eternity. The gift of life is given to all for each one to enjoy, and you, Paddy, used it wisely and humility employed. And as your loved ones gather around to see you on your way, I'm sure if you could speak once more, this is what you'd say. Lift up your head, my dearest friends, do not mourn me so. Sing for me another song just before I go. My journey home will not seem long if this for me you'll do. Sing it loud and sing it clear. Make every note ring true. I know it's hard to let me go, it's hard to say goodbye, but the clock has toiled its final toll, and it's time for me to go. I will travel well and travel fast into the mists of time until we meet again, my brother, on the other side. I know my dad would like as much music as he can have today. And this song, the lyrics of the song do speak about Hawaii and maybe not New Zealand, but I think the theme of the song is dreaming of home. And my dad spoke, all the time about going home and dreaming of home, and so I know he's there now. I saw you in my dreams. We were walking hand in hand on a white sandy beach of Hawaii. We were playing in the sun. We were having so much fun on a white sandy beach of Hawaii. Sound of the ocean soothes my restless soul. The sound of the ocean rocks me all night long. Those half-hot summer days, lying there in the sun on a white sandy beach of Hawaii. The sound of the ocean soothes my restless soul. The sound of the ocean rocks me all night long. Oh, last night in my dreams I saw your face again. You were there in the sun on a white sandy beach.
As we've been seeing clips of the Maori High Five, seeing the different members, all the pictures you've seen. Mary's with us today, thankfully, representing all of them. Her always a big part of Dad's life in history. One person who contacted me was the drummer from that group. His name is Peter Wallen. He lives out in Nevada and was unable to make it here today. Hopefully he's watching right now at home. But he sent me a poem to help us through this time of sadness. So I'm going to read this. This is what a poem that Peter had found that helped him in the past. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the shining glint on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awake in the morning hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circling flight. I am the soft moonlight at night. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. Now, it's great to see old clips and videos of the high five, and you really get to see, you know, all that they've done. And while I'm always proud of him for that, my dad was proud of that as well. He'd be the first one to tell you that that doesn't define him. I don't believe, and you wouldn't either, that that's his crowning achievement on earth or his greatest attribute. And when I thought about that more and more the last couple of weeks is when that really hit home, and that's true. His greatest attribute and ability is his personality, is his charm. His ability to make friends and draw loved ones wherever he's been. Everyone here knows him from somewhere different, from something different. And that's what it's always been like for him, all over the world. Like my brother Ikey, he really inherited that as well. He's a real charming, outgoing, charismatic guy, and that's what Dad was. And it reminds me because, like, some people know me as Steve, my family knows me as Stephen, but I sort of go by a third name that I've noticed, and that name is Paddy's son. It's something that's come in handy most of my life. Whenever meeting people, at some point I realize it's a waste of time trying to explain. It's like, oh yeah, Steve, I do this, blah, 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 blah. It's best to just walk up and say, hi, I'm Paddy's son. And immediately they're like, oh, okay. And then, you know, they may have heard me, so they know my name's Steve, and then they're like, oh, okay. But it's always been like that. When meeting people at parties, my dad's not around, I just name drop, I'm Paddy's son, and I'm instantly in. Whether I'm getting pulled over by the police, or trying to get into a restaurant, or wherever, it comes up, I'm Paddy's son, and sure enough, like, oh, okay, come on in, you're good, or go ahead, just don't do it again, son. But what's nice about that is the sort of legacy he's left as such a well-loved individual that's touched so many people. That's something that doesn't go away even if he's not here anymore. Something that lasts forever. So, just like Mark, always be able to go the rest of our lives as being Paddy's son. Thank you. All right, so the family has done our tributes here tonight, Dad's immediate family. What we'd like to do now is invite everyone else to do theirs. Dennis is technically, well, not more technically, he's the reason that we settled in Green Bay. My dad was touring around the Midwest, and he had befriended this Samoan guy, and it seemed like a good place to settle down a bit when my dad wanted to get off the road. And so I've grown up with Dennis like an uncle. We've grown up very close, our families, and I love seeing them all here today. But Dennis was definitely, you know, my dad's brother from another out here. We're very close. Dennis is Samoan. My wife is Samoan, so it's even nicer to have that once they were able to meet. And then find out, of course, after enough talk, that they're distantly related. That's how it happens, Polynesians. So it was great to be connected even more in that way, to have that special connection.
Let me walk through paradise with you.